Well, I think everyone who was watching it in between the sheets was shocked because they were like, this is not the Stacy we know.
I know.
Like, Stacy had come off as classier to everyone at the resort until they watched her in the video where she's like, I'm going to take a dump.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Listener discretion advised. Adult language and mature content.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Two Queens, One Screen, and I'm Jen.
I'm Keeley.
And we are both about to get a little older. I guess we're all getting older every day, but a little bit by 1 year. We both have March birthdays, which is fun.
Yes.
The biggest difference, of course, being your birthday is first, and that makes you a Pisces, and my birthday is second, and that makes me an Aries. And I've actually already been celebrating my birthday, even though we haven't started March yet. But that's kind of your fault because you sent me amazing presents.
I did.
You did. I have a brand new microphone, so hopefully it sounds really good. And I got new headphones. And I found out that they work better if you turn them on and plug them in. Which is maybe why our sound wasn't great last week, but it's going to be so much better this week.
That's right. And by the way, I sent her birthday presents and someone couldn't wait until her birthday. It is not my fault.
No.
That she opened them before her birthday.
No.
It is her fault.
Yes. But the thing is in my family, and I'm going to move this.
Here we go again.
I just realized it was wrong. Does it sound better? Ow.
Yes, it does.
In my family, who Keeley married into, it is of the feeling that if you have a gift and you want to give it to somebody, if they give it early, then they just get to enjoy it longer. The gift is the extra time with the gift.
That's right.
Yeah. And this is a gift for all of you because hopefully this will sound better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And she did ask permission to open it. She said,
I did.
Can I open it? Would it be okay if I open it? Would you mind if I open it? Some derivation of that.
I was like, what are your rules?
That's right.
Are you an early opener?
No. The presents are still sitting in my closet on the floor.
I'm actually in the middle of a really intense. I ordered things for my fish tanks. In the last month, I have gone from 1 fish tank to 3 fish tanks, from 10 gallons of aquarium to 46 gallons of aquarium.
Holy smokes.
And I'm real into it. It's how I find my happy place. It is the hobby that I'm currently most into. And one of the other things is I'm waiting for a tiny plastic 3D printed submarine to come in the mail because I'm going to start breeding tiny little shrimps. And I need them to be able to go into this aquarium because it's hilarious, but I can't set up my fish tank until I get the aquarium because it has to get buried under the rocks. It's a whole thing. And then I also have fish coming in the mail, but they can't ship it until all the storms are over. So thank God you gave me my birthday gifts early because I needed something to open.
I feel like you're going to end up being one of those mermaids in those mermaid shows.
Yeah.
Right? You're just going to be living in water, surrounded by fish and...
Right. Oh, 100%. I feel like I'm living out... I loved mermaids. That was my Disney movie, was The Little Mermaid. I'm surrounded by fish and cats. It's little Jen's dream is what I'm living right now. What was your Disney movie?
I really like Cinderella. That was my favorite. I watched that quite a bit over and over.
I feel like everyone has their, like, princess.
Yeah.
Have you gone back and re-watched Cinderella within the last 5-10 years?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you have different feelings about it now that you're an adult?
No, it's a comfort movie. I like to watch it when I don't feel well or emotionally struggling. Yeah.
That sounds lovely. I rewatched Little Mermaid and I was like, Ariel, shut the fuck up. Go to your room. Your dad is sick of this. He's already lost his wife. He's got how many of you that he has to take care of, and you're just like going to the surface and going to the sea witch. It's making terrible decisions. You're 16, you are a child. It was upsetting. It was genuinely upsetting to go back and rewatch and go, oh no. I don't want her to be my daughter.
Sure.
Just stressful. It just stressed me out. Are you doing anything for your birthday? Because your birthday's coming up sooner than mine.
Well, kind of, sort of ish. So my birthday, my husband and I also got married on my birthday. So we have a birth anniversary is what we call it. We celebrate our anniversary and my birthday on the same day. And so we usually do something, but with Peyton's birthday, which is 7 days exactly before that, we kind of always have this, I don't know, consecutive party thing. And sometimes we plan just one big party, and sometimes we do, like I said, consecutive parties. So this year, Peyton's going to have her skating party first.
Fun.
Yes. And then we are going to go to the Hot Springs, Idaho City.
Ooh. And
then the weekend after that, he and I are going to Salt Lake to a Utah Jazz game, basketball Jazz game. So that's what we're doing.
So fun. I love it.
Yeah.
That sounds really great.
Yeah.
My birthday is going to be at the same time as my kids' spring break. So we are going to hit up some old Florida off-brand Gatorland stuff, like D-list Gatorland. So one of them is this thing called the Showcase of Citrus. This thing, they take school buses and they turn them into monster trucks, and then you go like on a safari.
Nice.
And there's like a camel and maybe a giraffe. So
dude, that sounds awesome.
School bus monster trucks. And then also my dad, shout out to Mike, booked me a magician, and then we're going to have Mexican food.
Nice.
Magician, Mexican food. It's going to be great.
Yes.
39, the last birthday of my 30s. I'm amped about it, honestly. It's going to be really good. I don't have a good segue. Speaking of weirdness.
Sure.
I don't know. The last resort is what we've been talking about. We started off the last episode, and I just had a feeling that they weren't going to give us much, and I feel like I was 100% right.
Absolutely.
I think we both said that we weren't going to get much, and they didn't give us much. I will tell you right off the bat, they started out strong because they show the aftermath of everyone had their fancy dinner out, everyone got drunk. The next day, Rob, who didn't go to dinner, goes to the gym and starts riding his bike. And next to him, he thinks is Stacy.
Which is funny.
After she's told him that her vagina hurts.
Yeah.
Because she got vaginal rejuvenation, and then asked him what his name was.
Yeah.
Can you imagine saying that? I was like, that's all you need to know about Darcy is she will tell you about her nana.
Yeah.
And then ask your name.
Yeah. Well, those stationary bikes do hurt the nana when you're on it for too long. I mean, I can't imagine being a guy and trying to sit on that thing. God, their balls and their dicks got to fall off and just go numb sitting on those things. It hurts. Sitting on those things for too long has got to hurt. I can't. I hate those things.
Well, you're supposed to stand up and then you get down and then you stand up and then you get down. And
I don't. That's why I don't get on those fucking things. Nope.
No. I'm not a fan of them.
No.
And Darcy was so into it.
Oh, sure.
Flipping her hair around in full glam.
Yeah, all those diamonds.
So, okay, thank you for bringing up the diamonds because they are both Darcy and Stacy always have necklaces and have jewelry and have like full wrists of multiple bracelets. And I was like, look at all those diamonds. Like, good for them.
Yeah.
I looked up their business. So they have a fashion line called House of 11. It's crystal jewelry and it's like $20 or less.
Oh.
All those diamonds, that big cuff that she always wears with the angel wings.
Okay.
It's like $30.
Wow. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So because what I was really looking for was, remember how earlier in the season, Stacy had the really cute white, like mosaic tile swimsuit, and then she also had it on her hat?
Yeah.
During the episode this week of Between the Sheets,
Yes.
they have a confrontation that they didn't even bother putting in the show, and Darcy is wearing a black version of it. And I was like, I gotta find where this is. I want to see it. It's not in any of their current collections, so maybe it's coming out later. But you can buy their clothes, and they're very affordable.
Yeah.
If you want to look like Darcy and Stacey, it's a lot of faux fur. It's a lot of very tight clothes. It's a lot of cutouts or see-through mesh along the side of your legs. Very sexy stuff. A lot of fake diamante, a lot of crystal. Going into it, how did you feel? I was a little surprised seeing Darcy first thing.
Oh, no, I wasn't surprised seeing Darcy first thing. I was surprised seeing Rob the first thing, honestly, because he wasn't there at the dinner. I wasn't surprised about him complaining about Sophie and all of that. And then, of course, boohoo Josh has to walk in. Boring. Yeah, so he walks in and sits next to Rob on the bike, starts talking to Darcy and Rob about Natalie, how he needs some space from her. Darcy says, I'm sorry for the drama last night with Stacy. And Josh says, no, it's okay. That's what I'm used to. And I just need a minute from Natalie. Natalie expects all these things from me. She expects to come into my home. She expects to meet my family. She expects to come to my job. She expects to be around me. Bitch, she wants to be your girlfriend. That just means she wants to be around you, you asshole. Like, come on. And then guess who shows up right after he ends that sentence? There goes Natalie.
There she is. It was so funny because she comes in.
Yeah.
And immediately she's like, hello, everyone. Her eyes are already gigantic. And in Between the Sheets, they said, does he have an air tag? This resort is giant. And she comes in going, oh, I was looking for you. And then she says hello to Rob and Darcy, and it's very cordial. And then she immediately goes, why do you want to hurt me?
Yeah.
Why are
you so nasty to me?
Why do you want me to be in pain?
Yes.
And it's just immediate. And it's because she said that she wasn't actually looking for him, but then she saw him and they made eye contact.
Yeah.
And he didn't look happy to see her. And so she knew immediately that he was talking shit.
Yeah.
And I guess she had met Darcy the night before.
Yeah.
But so she starts immediately just unloading on Darcy and trying to get Darcy on her side. And he does say she's unpredictable. I don't want to have that around my kids if it's unpredictable. It's like, okay, but then why, if you don't want that around your kids, then why are you still engaging with her? If you don't trust her, then why are you stringing her along?
Yeah.
That's the part that's so irritating. And Josh is like, I'm the good guy. I'm just trying. I just need her to get normal. I just need her to be normal.
Yeah.
It's like,
no.
It's been 3 years. You know how she is. She's not suddenly going to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
This is not new to you, dude. Stop pretending. Yeah, he always acts like the victim. He always pretends like he doesn't know what's going on. He always pretends like he doesn't know that Natalie's going to act like that, right? When someone new comes in the picture like Darcy, right? He pretends, I didn't know she was going to do all this, and this is what I need in my life, but then she comes around and I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then he gets frustrated, right? She says, why do you body shame me? And then Rob says, well, maybe I think you was misunderstanding. I don't know that he body shamed you. And Josh just ends up leaving and sitting on the stairs. And he's just like, his life is over. He just lays there on the stairs. And what I loved is Florian making fun of him in Between the Sheets. He's like, what are you doing? What the fuck is wrong with you? What are you doing? He's like, I sat there for like 30 minutes waiting for everybody to leave because that's the only gym in the resort. Who cares? Leave. Run, do something, some other exercise. Why do you have to sit there?
Next to the entrance, walk past them.
Right.
They don't have a gun.
Right.
They'll look at you. Oh
right.
no.
Who cares?
He's such a baby. So
he
ridiculous.
Is such a baby.
They even show later on, it was like, here's an unseen footage. So they actually were going to get therapy, which is a novel idea for this show. This marriage boot camp with therapy, when we actually get to see them with a therapist.
Yeah.
And they're like, cut it. Because why? Because James, who I started out, fully team James the therapist. So I was like, ooh, James is messy. But what ended up happening is he's trying to walk them through having a conversation where they're going to find some mutual ground and figure out how they can move forward or if they're going to move forward. But they're too busy blaming each other. Yeah. That James, it looks like it maybe lasted 5 minutes and James was like, no, I think we got to cut it. This is done. I think we're out. Yeah. Also, they were doing the therapy in a heavily traversed walkway. There's like all the retirees coming through, like with all their luggage. Right.
Which was very strange.
It was so weird.
Right. And then I loved Florian, how Florian was like, you start out blaming Natalie. That's the first thing you say when the therapist says, what do you want to talk about? You just blame Natalie. You say, you did this, 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 and this wrong. I don't like this, 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 and this about you. And Florian says, maybe you should come in softer and say, this is what I have concerns about. Maybe we could talk about this. And then Josh just goes, what? I'm not supposed to say what's bothering me? What am I supposed to do? And Florian goes, well, maybe you could just be a little bit softer when you talk to her. Oh, right. Exactly. Thank you, Florian, because you're a normal human being and Josh is not normal.
Well, and then Josh immediately throws it in his face and he's like, who are you? I thought you were this Eastern European to the point strong man. And now you're telling me I need to be softer? Who are you to say this to me? He refuses to get it. Does not want to get it.
No. It was ridiculous. And I was unimpressed with James. Absolutely unimpressed.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
I mean, James is like, this is a shit show. Yep. It's not going to get better. Yeah. But they were not that exciting. We saw Rob for the 2 seconds, and I think he was really mostly there to, one, learn about Darcy's Nana, and two, hear about the fight, because I think Darcy wanted to vent to the two guys, but then Josh came in and was like, you think you two are bad. Let me tell you about Natalie. Yeah. But she did get to say, Darcy did get to say that Stacy asked if she wanted to fuck her husband. Yeah. And she was like, can you believe that? And Rob's like, yeah, but do you? Right. That's been my question the whole time.
Right. And Darcy did say, well, we do have this amazing connection. I mean, we can't just fight our amazing connection. I'm sorry. You don't say that. You don't say that. And it's weird. It's super weird.
You don't cultivate an amazing connection with your in-law. I mean, it doesn't seem like an appropriate thing. Like, be friendly. Sure. Have like a good time. Be supportive of each other. But if there's ever a situation where you're putting someone in the middle between their spouse and you, then you're in the wrong place. That's not what a sibling is supposed to do. That sibling relationship is not supposed to be like that.
Oh, and it's even worse because they're twins. I think it's just even more aggravated because they're twins. I just, and to me, Darcy and Stacy, they always do this elevated, aggravated thing. Like Darcy will say, well, if we can't fix this, our relationship is over. And then they have these blow up fights and then they walk off and they leave. And they never fix anything. They just scream at each other and then they leave. I mean, I stopped writing down what they had a fight about. I just write Darcy and Stacy fight because I can't keep up.
Same. This episode was a delight for that. And then also they open up in the morning on Florian and Stacy. Stacy still in her gold lame gown and her makeup is everywhere. And Florian wakes up and he's like, this bed is disgusting. And they just are both so hungover. And she's just clearly in so much hangover pain. And she's like, oh, God, I need some food. I need water. I feel like, oh, my head. I need an empanada. I need an empanada.
But
and then he
gives her the drink. I don't... Steve would never bottle feed me like that.
He did. He bottle fed her a water bottle. It was ridiculous.
He'd probably go get me some food, but he would never bottle feed me. I didn't understand that at all, and I laughed so hard.
I think it seems like he was also in too much pain to he was like, I just need her to be quiet. Yeah. Like he was just like, just shove something in her mouth so she won't talk anymore, is kind of the vibe that I got.
What? I want to know what mess was in the bed. What?
I think it was probably her body makeup all over the sheets.
Okay.
It was what I guessed.
Okay.
Maybe like rogue hair extensions that had fallen out.
All right.
They were making fun of her in between the sheets, and they're like, this is pretty funny. And she was like, well, usually I sleep butt naked. And I was like, ooh, sexy. And she's like, no, hot flashes.
Oh my God. And I want to know, did he leave to go get the croissant, or was it in the room?
It was in a bag. So it seemed like he maybe did. She's like taking a bite of the croissant. She's like, this isn't an empanada.
With her eyes closed. Closed.
No. It was awesome. Maybe because the room was spinning. Okay, so her first thought was like, I need an empanada. I need greasy food. She also said that she had a health scare for the last 2 months, so she really hadn't been drinking. And so the little bit of drinks that were way more than just a little bit of drinks, but the little bit went a long way. Mm-hmm. So she was extra hungover, got extra drunk, extra hungover. But at the same time, I don't know that if I was feeling that hungover that I'd want an empanada. What's your hangover go-to food?
Jack in the Box. They have a breakfast burrito that has sausage, egg, and cheese with also bacon and ham in it. And it's gigantic. It's like this big. It's like this everything meat sausage breakfast burrito. That's what I eat.
That sounds good. When I lived in Northern Virginia, there was a place called Anita's, and they did breakfast burritos. And you would go, and they were like this big, like not huge, but they were so effing good. And they'd have it with bacon or sausage or chorizo. And then they had a really good fresh salsa that you'd put on it. And that was definitely in my number one. I think about those burritos all of the time. But I would say my go-to is I want French toast. I want bread and egg and sugar. And that's what I want when I'm feeling, that's my hangover food. And coffee. But I want coffee every day.
Yeah.
But, poor Stacy.
It's the best.
She's so cute when she's hungover.
I know. And then she had to go to the bathroom and take a dump and
oh my God.
shower and take a shower. Yeah. I mean, I get the shower part. And she said she had to cool off with a hot shower. Yeah.
I don't know.
And Florian didn't understand that part.
No. Well, I think everyone who was watching it in between the sheets was shocked because they were like, this is not the Stacy we know.
I know.
Like, Stacy had come off as classier to everyone at the resort until they watched her in the video where she's like, I'm going to take a dump.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hello.
Right. And Florian's dump.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. I feel like if the sisters could get this figured out, they can get this figured out.
Yeah.
Is what I hope.
Oh,
but then what of course happens is in between the sheets, we got another never before seen footage where the two sisters come together because they're going to have a conversation before therapy for some reason.
Yeah.
Because I guess James was too busy for 5 minutes with Natalie and Josh. But the two sisters get together and they're immediately like, they hug and then they're like, two dogs playing tug of war, just growling at each other.
Yeah.
Not cool. And then they're like, let's simmer down. We want to have a resolution. What was it that they said? They want to get back to their powerful twinness of their relationship.
Yeah.
They have a business together. They all live in Miami. They want to fix things.
Yeah.
But there's so much tension. And Darcy's like, I think we just need to take a second. We just need to breathe. I've actually been learning things here in this boot camp, and I've learned some breathing exercises. And Darcy immediately like, well, I've gone to therapy too, and I also know breathing exercises, so I know how to calm myself down too. And they have this battle of like breathing exercises where they're both taking deep breaths. And it was funny because even that was a competition.
Yeah.
Who could calm themselves better?
Yeah.
They didn't. Spoiler alert, they immediately started screaming at each other.
Yeah.
And got up and left. And it was also funny because jumping back to when they rewatched In Between the Sheets, they watch Darcy explain to Rob what happened. She said that she wanted to know if I wanted to fuck her husband. And she's like, I can't even believe that. And everyone's like, but we're curious. And it's, again, a 180 because Stacey was like, yeah, I said it. Whereas in the interview last week, she was like, I do regret that.
Yeah.
And then this time she's like, I said what I said.
That's what I mean. I don't understand how they can be so cognizant of, we need to stop all of this fighting or we're not going to be a family anymore. But then they just right back in it and they say all these shitty things to each other. And they know that they can't take it back.
I don't know. And I don't think they were together any longer than Josh and Natalie were in therapy with therapist James. It was so fast.
Right.
I did like that Darcy had the cowboy hat and it like flew off 3 times. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to see them in therapy. So we still have no idea how that's going to work.
I don't know.
Speaking of ineffective therapy, do you want to talk about Ari and Benny?
My God. Yeah, if we have to.
I actually think this was really good. This is genuinely, I think, I've really come around for Ari. She drove me nuts at the beginning, but I'm on Team Ari at the end of this. And I feel like this was really good because it seemed like she finally made peace with the fact that Benny isn't going to try. Yeah. Like she accepted it. So maybe this resort, as painful and awful as it was because she came in, her biggest complaints were Benny wasn't actually engaging in any of the therapy and he wasn't putting any effort in. And she wasn't getting any support from the other couples. And she's like, what the fuck am I doing here? This is a waste of my time. And I think it finally clicked for her. I think that had they not gone to the resort for this therapy, for this like last chance, I think maybe it would have taken a lot longer for her to get to the point where she's like, I don't think that we can keep trying.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the whole thing sucked. It's all awful, but I think this is the best outcome for her.
Yeah.
In this.
Yeah.
So Ari and Benny sit down, therapist James and Sarah, to have a conversation. One of the first things that she says, I want to hear what you think about it, because there were some very strong opinions in Between the Sheets. She mentioned what I said about the couples and about Benny not really wanting to be engaging in the therapy. And then also that she expected there to be some accountability for Benny. There were some strong reactions in Between the Sheets. What did you think about that?
About what she said and what their reactions were?
Yeah, specifically like Rob and Brandon.
Oh, well, they're guys. Of course they're going to say that. Of course they're going to stand up for him. Of course they're going to not see her side of it because they don't like her. Men don't see that. Men don't understand, obviously, that women have feelings too, that he treated her horribly, and that she would like a little bit of validation. Mm-hmm. And that literally she is exactly like Sophie. She's exactly like Jasmine. She's exactly like all these other couples that are there.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, because she vocalizes it, she is some sort of villain. Just like Rob said that Benny was. Anyway, so no, I'm not surprised that the men said that about her, because that's what men do with women. They generalize women that way.
I was so irritated when he literally, everything that she's explaining about where they're at, and I thought that she was really articulate and also very clear about what her expectations were and what she was hoping to get out of it, and how she saw that those things were never going to happen. And she said, I wanted him to be held accountable for the things that he's done.
Right.
And they're like, oh, so they just wanted him to be vilified. They just wanted everyone to know that he's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it was like, they're making her seem insane for being like, yeah, what he did is not okay.
Right.
Hearing that isn't okay doesn't make her an asshole for wanting someone to validate that. I think that's exactly what you're saying.
Right. That's what Sophie did. Sophie stood in front of everybody and said, Rob is doing this. And everybody was like, oh my God, Sophie, I'm so sorry. Rob, you suck. Mm-hmm. It's the same fucking thing. And they split up into groups, and we had this big hullabaloo, but Ari can't do that, and Ari's a bitch, and Benny can get away with it. This is the whole point of therapy. You go to therapy, and they say, what is the problem? And you say, my husband has been unfaithful. I am upset about it. I want him to be held accountable. I would like him to admit to it. It makes me feel X, Y, and Z. And your husband either says, I can't admit to it, or I do admit to it, or I am sorry, or whatever it is. And then the counselor helps you process and work through it. These fucking counselors didn't do that. They didn't do that for her at all.
No. And she literally said, he's done these things. And Benny started laughing. And James is like, why are you laughing? And he's like, because this isn't a real thing for me.
And all they did was back him up.
And she's never going to be validated. And those are the professionals that were like literally supposed to be there to support her. So I was like, get out, girl, run. And in the end, they've decided that they're going to separate. She was very calm. She was very to the point. And then they had a video chat with Avi, their son, and he was like, how's your trip? She was holding Benny's hand, and she's like, we are always going to be a family, and we love you no matter what, and we are here for you. And it was just this sign that I think that she was signaling to everyone. She's signaling it to Benny. She's signaling it to Avi. We are going to co-parent. We are going to be friends. He is the priority, and we are forever connected. And so this needs to be a positive relationship. And I thought that that was really big of her, because I don't know that I would get there that quickly. Maybe it was a long time coming, but they both see that they need to do that for their son. I think she sees it more realistically and clearly than Benny does. And when she's leaving, she's crying. She's like, I feel like I failed. I came here to try and save my marriage. I did not. I'm leaving separated. I feel like I failed. And she's just really grieving. And Benny says a happy goodbye to everybody. He's high-fiving. And then he gets in the car and he's like, you only have one life to live, and there's no reason to be unhappy. You should try and be happy as much as possible. And it was like, Benny, what the fuck? It's like his happiness is paramount. He's like, I really want to co-parent and be the best dad I can be for my son. But it was his pleasure and his happiness were number one, because he only has one life to live. Ari only has one life to live. And look what you're doing to her one life that he could have done better.
I think the whole thing was calculated on his part. Her leaving and not saying goodbye. I think he probably did that on purpose. To some extent, she probably didn't want to say goodbye to these people because she knows they don't like her. And that pissed me off. The first thing that Jasmine said was, she was like, oh, well, I guess she hates us. She hates us. No, bitch, you hate her. You guys have not treated her kindly. Of course, she's not going to come out there and say goodbye and cry in your lap and say, I'm getting a divorce, and have you put your arms around her. No. You know why? Because you don't like her and you have never supported her or said a kind word to her. So I'm sure that whole thing was calculated by her leaving and then Benny coming out. And look how great he is. And this is so great and so fun. And then that whole scene with the rock in the between the sheets that they showed, that was disgusting. That was so gross. And what they showed was that rock that said affection. Ari wrote she wanted affection from him. He just threw it in the garbage. He threw it in the garbage and he's like, yeah, but I don't have to do that anymore. And just left. And the other cast were kind of shocked when they watched that. They're like, oh, yeah, I kind of don't like that. Which, yeah, maybe you should have figured that out instead of just not paying attention to this poor woman who is suffering and maybe needed a friend while you guys were there for however long. But no, you treated her like crap. She left. Nobody said goodbye to her. Nobody said anything to her. And he didn't even care. And then before they leave, before they get in the car, she said, all I ever wanted for you was for you to find happiness, for you to find love, for you to find success. He doesn't say, I wish the same for you. He doesn't say anything. He says, thank you for the wish.
Thank you for the wish, and let's think about our future.
He's just so gross. He's so gross. And then what is he doing? He's sliding into Natalie's DMs after that.
Yep.
What is wrong with you? Yeah. That guy is a piece of trash. He's completely trashy.
And it seems like everyone started to finally figure that out. But again, hindsight's 2020. They all figured it out after. I will say props to Jasmine because she did go, I fucked up. Yeah. I was wrong. I really regret how I treated you. Yeah. I regret how that went. I wish I would have said goodbye. Yeah. I wish I would have been kinder to you and realized what was going on. So I think, you know, justice for Ari. She's getting some of that vindication after the fact. So I hope that's helpful to her. Yeah. She, in the interviews in between the sheets, which is after everything, she looks great. I think that she's on her healing journey. Yeah. I think that she's doing well. So that makes me feel good. Yeah. I will say the one bright spot of all of this is that even though Benny left, and as he was leaving, he was wearing a Gino fedora and looked fucking ridiculous. Yeah. As he was saying goodbye to everyone, he was like, it's so great because I really did learn from all of you. I learned something from all of you. And our heart, Florian goes, what did you learn from Gino? I'm curious.
There's Florian again with the zinger. Florian,
oh my God, it was so good. So good. Rob said that he was like really shaken by the fact that Benny and Ari left before the end because they had the most to fight for out of everybody. They have a young child. No one else has a young child in the show, I guess. And he was like, if they can't make it, if they can't figure out how to make this work, then do any of this. And I thought that was an interesting perspective. Not that I want to give any points to him, but.
No, I get that. But I think honestly, if to break up for your kid, I think is honestly better also too, because you don't want your child to watch that growing up, and you don't want your child to learn those bad behaviors, you know, to learn how to be a man from that, right? Ugh, you know, you'd rather him be separated and visit his dad and get better behaviors. And I think it's much better this way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is the best thing for them. I think that's the best thing for Avi. Yeah. I think that hopefully when all that Benny has to provide in the relationship is his support of the child and co-parenting and doing that on a friendship basis, hopefully he'll do at least that, because it seems like he fell short in so many other areas. So I'm like, please be a good dad. I don't know though. He's living on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
That's if she stays in Jersey and she doesn't go back to Africa.
Yeah,
he's
that's
in
true.
Vegas.
That's
he's
true.
making his living in Vegas. I think he really likes that lifestyle in Vegas.
I think he'll probably just financially support him, probably until his later teenage years. Then I probably see him learning about his culture and his family and where he came from. And then I think Benny might be more in his life, or at least his family. Benny's family would be more in his life that way.
I know that there was a lot of issues between Ari and her in-laws, but I do think that she has a deep respect for the culture.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like she'll stay connected and keep her son connected.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't have any worries with that. I think that's going to be good.
No, for sure.
But yeah. If anybody failed, again, the therapist, because they didn't get the support that they needed. And maybe she would have gotten all that figured out even sooner if she had real support.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But James talked to Josh and Natalie, and he talked to Ari and Benny, and then we see him talking to Brandon and Julia, which I have been amped to see this. We find out in between the sheets, we saw everything that we're going to see from this therapy session in this episode.
Yeah.
Which boggles my mind because, again, kind of a lot of nothing. Brandon and Julia are going to have family therapy with Brandon's mom and dad, Betty and Ron. I don't remember who it was that made the comment, but somebody was like, they look the same.
Well, I think it was Rob, yeah.
Rob, to Brandon's face, was like, your mom and dad look alike. They look related.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong at all. They do look alike. But they all sit down and they're like, how's everything been going? And Julia said, upside down. She's like, well, you've been down.
Yeah.
And she kind of gestures to Brandon. Brandon's like, you've been up?
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that. Okay. It was weird.
He came in full attitude, and I get by a lot of this stuff. Julia is just direct with Betty. She's talking about how a lot of the conflict comes from they feel like they're in competition with each other. And Brandon's like, you're not in competition. That's something you've made up in your head. And she's like, no, it's constantly fighting for you to agree with one of us, fighting for your attention. And Brandon's relationship with his parents, he described his relationship with his parents as like they're his best friends. And I thought that was so weird.
He's an only child, so...
Okay, maybe.
Yes.
My dad is going to listen to this podcast. My dad, one of my all-time favorite people to talk to and spend time with. I would not say that my dad is one of my best friends. I just think that's an odd...
Mm-hmm.
I think Betty's weird. And...
Oh, yeah. She has boundary problems. Yeah.
Right.
Big time.
And Brandon doesn't see the issue with it at all. He sees it as Julia's problem.
Mm-hmm.
And Julia says something about how, you guys only care about Brandon. Which I was like, well, yeah, they're his parents. That's going to be their number one. But what she really meant that was in reference to when there are conflicts, for some reason, his parents are involved. His parents are like referees. Like she'll be like, I'm frustrated about XYZ. Ron will start off on her side, but then Betty's like, no. And then they all gang up on Julia. And Julia's like, I don't have anybody backing me up. So it's like her against these three people when it's really an issue of conflict between her and her husband. And they're like, no, we want to be your support system. She's like, but I can't come to you. Which I think is a really valid thing. I also think maybe don't loop your parents in on all of your fights.
Mm-hmm. They all live together.
They still live together? I thought they were in different houses. I
think they all live together.
Oh.
That's why they know so much about each other, is they all live together on the stupid farm.
Gross.
Yeah.
That's too close.
That's their issue. And they don't have boundaries. They can't. I mean, and Julia explained that Ron will be on her side, But then Betty will step in and say, no, be on your son's side. You can't be on her side, which is a problem.
Yeah. And Julia is very blunt and direct with how she is not happy with Betty. And Betty's like, no, we're good. We love you. I don't know. It felt very false.
No.
So Julia's upset. She already feels attacked. And then she says, I thought I had some good news to share today, which all of us brace for, right? Because Julia keeps sharing things. You're like, can you? It's a fire hose of information from Julia, and it's all new. And she shares that she has already applied for documentation to get visas for her parents, and her parents that day had their interviews. And you just see Brandon. He was just fucking pissed. And he was like, you didn't even talk to me about this. She's like, I've been asking you to do this for months. You wouldn't do it with me, so I did it on my own. And he is so, so angry. Then in his anger was like, how do you do this? And you're lying, and you're doing this. And mom and dad, she cheated on me in Russia. And he gets up and he runs away. Ugh, would you? I wish he wouldn't have done that. I wish he hadn't have.
Yeah, so in between the sheets, Rob brought up a good point. He said, Julia is always bringing these things up in front of people. Why does she do that in front of people? And he says this to Brandon, why can't she pull you aside alone, one-on-one, and tell you these things? Why is she always doing this in front of people, like in therapy or in front of your parents or all this stuff? And Brandon's like, yeah, you're right. She kind of does that. And I was like, I don't want to give kudos to him, to Rob, but she is doing that. And I'm not saying her parents coming here is wrong, but she keeps doing that. She keeps dropping these bombs on Brandon in front of people in these big groups. I don't quite understand that. And I haven't been a fan of hers in the last couple of episodes, but Rob's not wrong. And I'm quite not understanding why she's doing that. But I think Brandon has met his limit, and I think he's so overwhelmed and he's so upset about everything that he can't process stuff. And I think it's just come to a head. I think that's why he word vomited. That's why he can't sit in his seat. He can't be still. And that's why he just did it and that he left. I mean, I don't disagree with what he did, really, but I mean...
No. I wish that he hadn't said that, but I also 100% understand why he did.
Yeah.
So James, the therapist, ends up chasing after him.
Yeah.
Julia stays and goes, see? Look at him freaking out, running away. This is your son. This is what your son's doing.
Yeah, we're here for therapy. This is what we're doing.
Here for therapy, and he's not here. He's not. Betty goes, well, you need to stop lying to him. You need to stop hurting our son.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, God.
Blech. Gross.
Oh, it's too enmeshed. There's too much crossover. We need a little more space there.
Yeah.
The whole thing was gross. And poor Brandon. I genuinely feel so badly for Brandon because Brandon sees his relationship with his parents and his parents' relationship as ideal. That's what it should be. That is not how Julia's parents are. Julia's parents are divorced, and they are high conflict. So the idea of bringing these high conflict people into their space totally overwhelms him. Totally freaks him out. And you see him just starting to break down out in a courtyard with therapist James, and he starts crying. I think he's starting to have kind of like an anxiety attack a little, and he's just breaking down. And then in between the sheets, you see Florian and Josh washing it, and they just start ripping on him for crying.
That's not nice.
It was disheartening.
Yeah.
It was a bummer to see.
Yeah. But here's my problem with Brandon. I understand what you just said about her parents being high conflict and being divorced. Why is it okay for his parents to be immersed in his family? When I say his family, him and Julia, but it's not okay for her parents to be immersed in their family. It's not fair to me. It's not okay to me. He can't have it. He can't have it both ways. He can't have his parents be the only ones that are allowed to be in the thick of things and have an opinion and be the ones telling Julia what to do, and him going there and crying and saying, blah, 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 this is what I want, mommy and daddy, this and this and that and the other. But Julia's not allowed to have that. That's not okay. That's not okay. I don't agree with that at all. You have to have boundaries. You either have your parents in your life or you don't. That is it. It is black and white. That's it. You can't have one set there and the other not. That's not okay.
Right.
Because she doesn't feel supported at all. She said
No.
that. She's like, I have nobody on my side. Ron?
And then everyone gangs up on her.
Right.
We watched it happen where they start scolding her.
Yep.
And
it's not okay.
It's not okay. I think that she has every right to try and get her parents visas. It sucks that he wouldn't be supportive of that.
Yep.
I understand why he is hesitant of saying, this is going to throw our life into chaos.
Yep.
It's not going fantastically with the dynamic with his parents already.
Yep.
I think that that's going to put a huge burden on them as well, because when you bring your family over, don't you have to like financially support them for 10 years or something?
Yeah.
And how old are her parents?
Oh, I don't know. But yeah.
So, I
mean, Brandon needs to have some perspective. I mean, come on. He cannot have this ideal situation with his parents, live with them, be completely up their butt, and not expect his wife to have any sort of support. He needs to know that his parents are not supporting his wife. And when he looks at his wife and say, I will choose you every time, she dead ass laughs in his face and says, not when your mom's around. And he goes, well, yeah, I don't want to hurt my mom's feelings. Right. Exactly. You can't do that.
And if you're tattling to your parents about your wife.
Yep. Sorry, dude.
But there's an issue there.
Yeah, it was not good.
So I don't feel super hopeful about any of that.
No.
I don't see how that's going to get better. But I think the only people that we have left then are Jasmine and Gino.
Yeah.
With another therapist that we are very 50-50 on.
With Reba.
How do you feel about Reba?
With Reba. I like Reba. I like her.
I found her quite charming. I liked the therapy that she was trying to give. I think it was wildly ineffective. Just prefacing with that. I don't think that she did a very good job. She had a one-on-one with Jasmine. Because Jasmine wants support in helping sort out, how do I have the conversation with Gino to open up our marriage so that I can have my husband, Gino, who I love, and also not have to live in a sexless marriage. Which seems like almost makes sense, except for the fact that Gino isn't going to say yes to this. We already know. They open it up with Reba saying, what is it that holds you? Keep talking about,
yes,
you love Gino. You want this marriage to work. You like being married to Gino. What is it that's holding this marriage together? If intimacy, which is such a huge thing, isn't there, what is it that is holding this marriage together? And she says, I love him. I enjoy spending time with it. We have fun together. And we've seen that. They enjoy each other as people when they're not having that weird fighting that typically Gino is setting off. So I think that she is very genuine in wanting this to work. I think she is just super, super naive about this whole concept. And I think Reba's trying to set her straight. And Reba comes out and says, I am married. I've been married for 9 years. And we practice ethical non-monogamy. Have you heard that term before?
I have not, but I like it.
I've heard of it before, but I don't think I had put it together in that way. It's like, okay, I see what she's saying. And she said when she and her partner husband, I don't know, decided to start doing this, what it is today is different than how it started. And it all kind of evolves from a place of trust, having strong conflict resolution skills and communication, which none of those things are what Gino and Jasmine has.
Yeah.
Jasmine heard, I'm also into polyamory or open relationships, ethical non-monogamy, and Jasmine heard nothing else. She goes, Gino and I could do that.
Yeah.
And Drew was like, you could, but let's talk about why this is hard.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jasmine heard any of it.
I don't think that Reba did anything wrong by telling her, honestly. I think I think Reba was trying to show her some support because she knew the rest of the couples were very prickly about it. But I also agree with what you said, that Jasmine kind of heard what she wanted to hear as well. And Reba also knows that Gino is not gonna put up with it either, and that it takes a lot of work. But I don't agree with what Rob said in Between the Sheets, that Reba doesn't know what she's talking about. What did he say?
He called her a bad influence.
Bad influence. That's what it was. A bad influence, and Gino's not her man. And she should have never said that to Jasmine. Yeah, he needs to shut up. I didn't like that. But I didn't mind her telling Jasmine. No. I thought she was showing her some support by saying that.
And I think she also said that she's kind of outing herself.
Yeah.
Reba was outing herself, but also trying to show ethical non-monogamy in a positive light.
Yeah.
Which we really don't see that often, right?
Yeah.
I feel like what I know about it is from like the bits and pieces of that show that you had talked about, where I've seen it like just not working at all and they're in therapy. Matt and I had a conversation about it actually, where I was like, I kind of feel like if you are practicing that and it's in your marriage and it's going well, I feel like that's the Olympics of relationships. I was like, I don't want to be in the Olympics of relationships, but like you have to have so many things be so good and be so strong for that to function at all in a healthy way. Like there's still jealousy that exists. There's still all of those things, but it's about communicating through them and finding security and that sort of thing. I don't want to have to work that hard. That seems exhausting.
Yeah, that's a lot of endurance, I see. Yeah.
I mean, who has that much time to like
I don't know.
Maintain two healthy relationships at the same time seems hard. But then I guess the other argument is that you have multiple people helping maintain their relationships with you, and then so it's like it takes a village kind of thing. It seems complicated.
Yeah. I mean, and from that show I was talking about, it's called Couples Therapy. It's on Showtime. I really, really like that show. And the one throuple that I watched, it was constant. What I mean by it was constant with them was all three of them were constantly going out looking for another partner to have sex with. Like the sex was the main thing that was driving all of them in the relationship. Every day, one of them was going out looking for another person to have sex with. And I was like, my God, I'm tired. I'm tired watching this show. I cannot have that much sex all the time. And they there was 2 females and 1 male, and the male had this gigantic personality that was over
I
the
thought you were gonna
top.
say
No,
something else.
no, they didn't show that, but he had this over the top personality, was almost a bully. I didn't quite like him. I did not relate to him. One of the females was more softer in her personality than the other. And the softer, obviously, female was having a hard time with it, the whole thing. And so that's why they were in therapy. But my point was, watching the 3 of them, all they were doing was day after day going out to find another person to have sex with. And I thought, my God, I'm so tired. If that's what this is, I know.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. I can't do that.
There is a web series that I watched. I think it was called Dana and the Wolf. And it was on TikTok, but then they also have it on Instagram now. They will do like updates, and it's like a show. It's not real, but then it's based on their real life. And they have a podcast where they talk about polyamory. They got married very, very young, and they were both each other's firsts. And so they kind of frame it as there are experiences and relationship building and things that it's not just sexual, but there's also things that you learn about yourself when you're dating as a younger person that some of these people who get married right away, they kind of miss out on. And wanting to be able to go and experience those things and wanting those things for each other and being able to, while still feeling jealous possibly and still feeling insecure possibly, being able to communicate enough and feel secure enough in each other to want the other one to get to go experience that and wanting those good things for the other person, which I think is a lovely idea. However, bringing it back to Jasmine and Gino does not want anything good for Jasmine. Mm-mm. So therein lies the flaw.
Yeah.
So Jasmine's like, look, you don't have to fuck me.
Yep.
I'll go find someone else. And he's like, no. I want you to remain unfucked.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to not have any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to work.
Mm-mm.
Especially when we see the clip for next week when she's trying to soften it. And she says, okay, let's talk about the boundaries and the rules. And he says, no, it's cheating. Bye. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't work. The conversation doesn't work. So
no, he's not open to it at all. And he's not open to it because he's not in the relationship in good faith.
No.
If he wanted those good things for Jasmine, he wouldn't be using his blue pills only for himself in his alone time.
Right.
You know?
Right.
He would be trying to move forward.
Right.
He wouldn't be saying, don't disagree with me about anything for 1 to 3 months. That's
right. We don't have an expiration date on things, Gino. Come on.
Yeah. So I don't have high hopes for next episode. I think everyone is destined to fail. I don't have good feelings that anyone is going to move forward well out of all of this.
No, I don't either.
I honestly think the person who got the most out of this therapy is Ari.
Yeah, sure.
And she left early.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Something.
I know. I don't know if you saw this. Speaking of Jasmine, I wanted to mention that Josh and Brandon went on a podcast this week.
I did not see this.
Okay, so they went on a podcast this week to talk about, I guess, the show. Mm-hmm. And Josh opened his fat mouth about Jasmine and her pregnancy news and his stupid fucking opinion. And he said that he's disgusted with Jasmine because she pulled the wool over everybody's eyes at the resort because she had Matt, lined up to be in this open relationship before the resort. And she basically lied to everybody at the resort about how in love she is with Gino and how she wanted to stay in the marriage with Gino when she had Matt waiting in the wings. And the whole thing was a complete lie. And then after the resort, right? The first thing she does was get pregnant by Matt, right? Nobody should trust her, and she's a big fat liar. And I'm thinking, are you serious?
She literally said it the entire time. She showed us Matt. She asked for an open marriage on like day 2 of therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think
Josh.
He is completely the kettle calling it black here. Like, you are a complete fame whore. You were on the show just to be on TV with Natalie. You absolutely were not in a relationship at all with this person, but you pretended to be to get on the show. And then we're going to find out, I saw today, that at the reunion or the tell-all, he's going to say that he's in a relationship with someone else and has been, and was not in a relationship with Natalie, but went on the show, The Last Resort, to see, air quotes, if he and Natalie were a good fit for each other. But in the meanwhile, he was in this relationship with this other girl. So, okay, you can call Jasmine a liar, but yet you were doing, Josh, you were doing this the entire time. Yeah, I don't think so, dude. I can't stand him. He likes to call everybody else a liar, but he's doing the exact same thing.
Yes. Fucking Josh. Oh, I hate him so much.
I do too.
Yeah. I'm hoping that after this, he doesn't get to be on TV anymore.
Me too.
Like, there are people that I love to hate to watch. Sheena, Tom Sandoval, Ramona from Real Housewives of New York. I hate her so much. Love watching her on TV. Phaedra. Don't really like Phaedra, but she makes good TV.
Yes.
I just don't like her. But yeah, I am fine never seeing him on TV again.
Yeah, I didn't know there was going to be a tell-all or a reunion. I'm excited for that. So
there wasn't last time, was there?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Because I would have loved to see more of an update. I can't stop thinking about Kalani.
I know, me too.
I love, and she doesn't post very often on Instagram and Facebook, but I love it when she posts something. Because she had a baby with the guy that she had the affair with.
I know.
And she seems very happy.
Yeah.
But who knows? All right, guys.
All right.
I think that about wraps it up. We're going to go sign off this and go watch Traders.
Yes. Yeah. Exciting.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I hope Danielle gets kicked off. I hope they all figure her out and kick her off tonight, people. Fingers crossed. Come on.
We'll see. We'll probably talk about it next week.
Yes.
So everyone watch it or else we're going to spoil it for you.
Yes. Come on.
All right. I love you and I miss you. And thanks for talking about TV with me.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.